Right. Good morning, everyone. All the online students, that the screen is visible. All the online students, could you please everyone respond in the chat window? I request all the online students need to respond in the chat window. Okay. Perfect, guys. Right. Let's continue that. So the one we have been discussing about this particular aspect of programming concepts here, right? As part of this particular aspect of programming concepts. Okay. So as part of this particular aspect of programming concepts, first we done with first program printing with the statement. Then we got variable keywords. Then we got class, method, object. And then we done with data types and variables. Then we got that particular static methods, and then it will be taking with that particular constructor, access modifier, and then we got that particular aspect of it will be taking with keywords, and then it will be taking with arrays, and then taking with the conditions here. And after that, we got that particular switch statement, and which it will be taking with that particular aspect of OOPS concept. As part of that particular OOPS concepts, we got inheritance, we got polymorphism, and then encapsulation, abstraction, and interface. And finally, we need to begin understand one more concept. That is what it will be mentioning, that exception handling. Just write with the new heading. All the online students also write with the new heading, mention the exception handling. Write with the new heading, mention the exception handling. So let's go with what exactly mean by this particular one, and how exactly we can go with this particular exception handling. Let's see that. Further, a simple understanding, it will be taking with this particular step. So here, if I just go with this particular one, we are working this particular respective VS Code. So you are working this particular respective of VS Code. Okay. So while working this particular VS Code, we got a possibility. So while working this particular VS Code, we got a possibility, we got an option. You can write with the code, writing with the program, and we can say that we can execute with the program. So the main purpose of this particular VS Code is we can go with in writing that particular program. At the same time, we can go with in executing that particular respective program. So writing with the program, and it will be taking with executing with the program. Okay. Now, while writing with the program, there is a chances of you will be getting an error. While writing with the program, there is a chances of you will be getting an error. In the same way, while executing with the program, there is a chances of you will be getting an error. So while writing with the program, there is a chances of you will be getting an error. In the same way, while executing with the program, there is a chance you will be getting an error. Now, while executing with the program, while executing with the program, he got an, sorry, writing the program got an error that you will be considering that you will be taking with syntax error. Getting an error at the time of writing with the program, consider as a syntax error. Getting an error while executing with the program, that it will be taking with runtime error. So one it will be taking with syntax error and one it will be taking with runtime error. Okay. In the same way, it will be taking with this particular step, which it will be having this syntax error. We can mention that syntax error handled by, if I go with syntax error handled by VS Code. This VS Code itself, it will be able to handle that particular syntax error. Then you will be taking with runtime error. So that particular runtime error we can mention handled by exception handling. So this is how you got a concept of this particular exception handling. So the one we are working this particular VS Code. So while working this particular VS Code, we can go with writing with the program, executing the program. While writing with the program, there is a chance you may get an error. While executing with the program, there is a chance you may get an error. At the time of writing with the program, getting an error, considering the syntax error. At the time of executing with the program, getting an error, considering the runtime error. Syntax error handled by VS Code, runtime error handled by exception handling. So now we need to understand that how exactly we can implement that particular exception handling. As usual, as part of the programming to implement that particular exception handling, to implement that particular exception handling, you will be taking with the help of that particular respective. You will be taking with the help of that particular try block. If you want to implement with the exception handling, you will be taking with the help of try block. Inside of that particular try block, you will be writing all that particular code. Inside of that particular try block, you will be writing all that particular code. So whatever that particular code has been written, whatever that particular code has been written, it will try in finding with the error. Functionality of try block. Functionality of try block is finding errors, or we can say that finding the errors. Functionality of try block, we can say that finding the error. Okay. Now, once error has been identified, these particular try block, it can come up with only in finding with the error. Once error has been identified, once error has been identified, which it will be taking with, see the step. Once error has been identified, it will not be able to print the error. It can find the error, but not able to print that particular error. To print that particular error, again, you will be taking with the help of that particular catch block. Right. To print that particular error, you will be taking with that particular catch block, you will be printing that particular respective of error. So which you will be taking with E. Now the functionality of catch block. The functionality of catch block. We can say that catching the error, catching the error and printing the error. If I'm taking with these particular respective catch block is, we can say that catching the error. Right. So catching the error and we can say that printing with the error. We can just go with in printing that particular error. Now see the understanding? We got two things here. One is try block, another one catch block. Try block, it will be finding with the error. It will just go with in finding with the errors only. It will just go with in finding that particular errors only. But it will not be able to print the error. So to get print that particular error, it will be taking with catch block. So that particular catch block, it will be catching with the error and then printing that particular respective error. Now, if I'm taking with this particular execution, if I'm just taking with this particular execution, first it will go with the try block. If error is there, then immediately catch block will execute. That means try block is executing, catch block is executing. Assume that there is no error in try block. If there is no error in try block, then catch block will not be executed. If there is no error in try block, then catch block will not be executed. That is what it will be taking with this particular catch block execution. As simple, we can understand that catch block will execute, will execute only in case of any errors. Only in case of any errors in this particular try block. So in the try block, if we don't have any error, in the try block, if we don't have any error, then this particular catch block will not be executing. So that is what it will be taking with catch block. So in a similar way, we got an a finally block. Along with the catch block, we got an a one more option which it will be taking with finally block will always execute it. Will always execute it. Okay. So will always execute it. Finally block will always execute it. That means irrespective of the error. Irrespective of the error, it will always execute it. Either you got an error in that try block, or if you got an there is no error in the try block, always finally block will be executed. Most of the time, you will be working that particular try block and then you will be taking with catch block only. If required, you will be taking with that particular finally block, not like mandatory. Try and catch is mandatory. You cannot work with only try block and you cannot work with only catch block. Try and catch both are mandatory. Try and that particular catch block both are mandatory here. But finally block you can consider like an a optional. If I'm taking with that particular catch block, I will be taking with that particular respective of optional. So this is what I will be taking with in mention. That particular one of I will be taking with that particular exception handling. So let's see that how exactly we can work with these particular programs here. Let's go with in writing that particular respective programs here. Okay, done. Now, let's see the program here. 77. Okay. So which I will be taking these particular 77 as usual. I will be taking with the new file mentioning that I will go with that particular respective of example. I will be taking with that particular respective example underscore. I will be taking with that particular exception handling dot you will be taking with TS, which you will be taking with dot TS. Okay. Now, this particular one, I will be taking with writing with the program. Now we can see that how exactly we can write with the program. Further, first I will be taking with this particular respective of try block. So inside of that particular try block, we need to be get right that particular code. I'm just defining let and then I will be taking with name. I'll be just taking with institute name. Right. So which I will be taking with that particular institute name, which I will be taking with that particular string that I will be mentioning that I will be taking with not string. I'll mention any data type, then it will be taking with this particular null. I'm just defining as a null. So first, I have been done with one particular try block. I just taken one particular variable institute name any equal to null. Okay. Otherwise, let me try. No. So which I will be taking with printing with the statement. Now I'm just printing with the statement. I will be taking with console.log. So console.log I will be taking with name dot I will be taking with that particular length. See here as part of that particular respective program according to syntax. For example, I will be removing this colon. Now it is giving an error. If I remove the colon, it is giving an error which is considering that syntax error. Syntax errors are handled by VS Code. Handled by VS Code means not like directly it will be fixing by VS Code. Just it will suggest that what exactly that particular error and where exactly you are getting that particular respective error. So that particular VS Code, it will be suggesting that at what line you are getting an error and what will be the error. Based on that, we need to be get fix that particular error. According to the syntax, everything is correct. According to the syntax, everything has been correct. But if I go with execution, let's see here. Open in integrated terminal. If I go with that particular respective of execution. This one. Right. So let me try here. I'll go with open in integrated terminal. So, okay. So this, which I will be taking with this particular one. So open in integrated terminal, just we are taking that particular path. So now see the program here will be taking with the execution TSX, providing with the file name example underscore exception handling dot TS, which I will be taking with example that particular exception handling dot TS. If I just go with that particular enter, if I just go with that particular enter, you need to be able to see that particular error message. Because according to the syntax, okay, but according to the logic, it has been giving an error mentioning that you will be taking with type error. So this is what, with the help of this kind of error message, we can easily get understood what is the issue related to that particular program. What will be the issue related to that particular program? Then we need to be get able to resolve that particular respective error. Okay, let's see that. Let's look into that. Right. So this, it will be mentioning that it will be taking with this particular try block on catch block. So this time, what happened here? Try block, we got an error. That means try block has been executed, catch block also executed. Let me try one more option. Let's go with one more option, that is, see here. I'll be just taking with one particular array, which I will be taking with that particular respective of array, mentioning dot taking with the number equal to. So here it will be providing all that particular respective array values. You are just providing that particular respective array values. Okay. Now I want to be get print an array. Okay. Taking with that particular console dot log. So which will be taking with this particular respective of console dot log. So this time it's need to be given a error. So this time it's need to be given a error because we are having only 6 values, but we are trying to print 10th value which is not available. Let's see here. If I go with this particular execution, how exactly the execution will be done. So it has been clearly saying that undefined because that value is not defined it will be printing that it will be taking with undefined. I'll try to go with in converting into this particular string format. 10th value is not available. But even though that particular 10th value is not available, we are taking with in print converting into toString. Now we can see it will be giving an error mentioning that it will be taking with it is mentioning that type error. So this time try block has been executed, catch block has been executed. So here, as we got an error in that particular try block, catch try block has been executed, and even catch a block also executed. Let me try in taking with this particular one. Now I will execute it. So this time, let's see that what is the result I will get, which I will be taking with the result. So this is, I will be taking with the 0 and then I will be taking with the 1. Whenever you are working with that particular arrays, you will be taking with working with index concept. So this time only try block has been executed, catch a block is not executed. This time only try block has been executed, catch a block is not executed. In a similar way, you will be taking with this particular finally block. If I'm taking with the finally block, you can mention that always it will be executed. If I'm taking with that particular finally block, you will be mentioning that always it will be executed. So this is what you will be taking with that particular one of try block and then catch a block and then finally block. Let's see here if I'm executing try block executed, finally block has been executed. Now I'll go with this particular one. Now we can see here. This time try block will be executed as we got an error at the time of executing the program. Catch a block also executed in the same way. Finally block also executed. So finally block is like an optional. Catch a block is mandatory. Whenever you want to implement exception handling, try block and catch a block both are mandatory. Finally block it is like an optional. If required, you will be writing it. Otherwise, not required to provide that particular finally block here. Okay, let's see that. Let's look into that. Let me execute. So this time I will be taking with this particular execution, try block executed, that particular catch block executed, and then I will be taking with finally block executed. This is how I will be taking with the help of this particular respective of exception handling. So whenever you're working in the real time as part of this particular TypeScript, it's not like mandatory that you want to implement exception handling, but this is also one option has been available. You will be taking with this particular perspective of exception handling here. Okay. And along with this particular exception handling, we need to begin understand some methods. I mean, previously in a very starting days, we have been discussing about that particular methods concept, which we got how many types of methods? Online students. How many types of methods we have and what are the types of methods? Right. So we got two types of methods, predefined method, user-defined methods. We got in a two types of methods, predefined methods, user-defined methods. Okay. In that, predefined. Predefined, defined by the language. So predefined, defined by the language. User defined, defined by the user. So let's understand some of the predefined methods related to string, related to these particular string methods. Related to that particular string methods, you will be taking with, you will be having this particular one, which you will be taking with this particular file, mentioning that dot ts. You will be taking with that particular string methods dot ts. Okay. So this is what you will be taking it. Now let's see that how exactly we can work these particular string methods here. String methods in TypeScript. I'm just taking with one particular string. It will be taking with let str. It will be providing that particular string. I'm just taking with Suresh IT Academy. So you can go with any of the string here. We are trying to get understood. We are trying to get understand how exactly we can utilize these particular built-in methods as part of that particular program requirement, how we can go with utilizing that particular built-in methods. That is what we are looking here. Let's see that. So which it will be taking with these particular methods. The one it will be mentioning that it will be taking with console.log str.length. It will be taking with that particular aspect of length. To uppercase, it will be converted into uppercase letters. That particular uppercase, it will be converted into uppercase letters. Then lowercase, it will converted into lowercase letter. Includes of IT. I mean, it has to return Boolean value, yes or no. In a text of Suresh IT Academy, do we have in a text of IT or not? It's need to return true or false. Then it will be taking with that particular starts with. Is that particular one text has been started with the Suresh or not? It's need to be get mentioned. Then it will be taking with ends with. It has been ended with that particular ends with or not. Then it will be taking with character at. I mean, in a whole string, the index of 0, what is the character is there, it will be printing that particular character. Index of what will be the index of the I? It will consider that particular first letter only. It will be taking with that particular I. Then it will be taking with that particular aspect of replace. For example, that particular aspect of Suresh, I'm just replacing with I'm just replacing with that particular Ramesh. Then that particular string I'm taking with the split individual words. See here, first we got one particular string. We are printing length, count of the total characters, converted into uppercase, converted into lowercase. It will confirm that the string of IT available or not. It will confirm it has been started with the Suresh or not and end with academy. In the index of 0, whatever the character is there, it will be printing that particular respective character. Then index of IT, that particular I, whatever the index is there, it will print it. Then it will go with that particular replace. That particular replace, whatever the text is there, it will replace with this. Then it will be taking with split. Let's see how you will be getting all that particular result. Just see that everything is a predefined. All these are predefined methods. This is how we are having n number of methods are available based on that particular program requirement. We need to be get take with the help of this particular n number of the methods here. Let's see that. So now I'll go with tsx. Then it will be mentioning that example underscore. It will be taking with string methods dot ts. See the result, how exactly you will be getting that particular result, which you will be taking with that particular result. First, it will be printing total characters, including with the space, uppercase letter, lowercase letter, include of it. Yes, it is true. And then starts with it is true, ends with also true. And then it will be taking with character it, provided index, and then replace. The whole string, it has been split into individual words here, which it will be taking with that particular respective individual words. So in this way, it will be taking with and utilizing these particular respective of string methods. That means going forward, if required, it will be taking with the help of these particular respective of string methods here. This is what it will be taking with these particular programming concepts here. And apart from all these particular things, you need to be get understand another most important concept as part of this particular playwright. Your whole playwright has been introduced based on these concepts only. You can write with the new heading mention that models in TypeScript. Models in TypeScript, and make a note of this particular description. All the online students also, please write with the new heading models in TypeScript and make a note of this particular respective description. And all the online students, is that you are able to join this TypeScript session in the morning, 8 a.m. to 9:30. 8 a.m. to 9:30. Is that you guys are able to join that particular session? Everyone got a link, guys. Okay. Uh, Let me give the link then. Okay, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute, guys. I'll be giving the link. I'm just pinging in the chart window. I just given in the chart window. So I just given the link in the chart window. Just make a note of that particular link. Okay. So from tomorrow, you can join it. So from tomorrow, you can join it here. Definitely, it will give you added advantage because that is a free of sessions only. You're not paying an extra amount to that particular session. That will be the free of sessions only. Just utilize those particular sessions. Definitely, it will help you while attending with the interviews here. All the online students also, please write within the description up to that particular highlighted one. This models concept is very most important. If you understand this concept very easily, you will be able to work with the playwright, because your whole playwright has been introduced in the market based on this concept only. Okay. Please make a note of up to that highlighted one. And I'm expecting everyone available in the WhatsApp channel. Is it everyone available in the WhatsApp channel? So please be available in the WhatsApp channel. I mean, just you have to join that particular WhatsApp channel. By that, you will be getting with the regular notifications here. So from the institute, whatever that particular regular notifications are there, you will be able to get all that particular updates in the WhatsApp channel. Just continue up to the highlighted one. Everyone done, guys? All the online students. Is it everyone has been done? Okay, perfect. So let's understand what exactly mean by these particular models concept and how exactly he got this particular concept can be implemented. See that. So this concept is very simple. Done. So previously we done with the concept of we will be taking with inheritance. So the concept of inheritance is we are mentioning that accessing the data, accessing the data from one class to another class. If I go with the inheritance, concept of inheritance is accessing with the data from one class to another class. Similar to this, similar to this, you got a concept of models. Similar to this, we got a concept of models. This is, we can mention that accessing the data from one file to another file. You can consider, okay, from one file, or you will be taking with folder. So that means you maintain one file in one particular folder. You can get access in another folder. So that is what I will be mentioned. This is done using extends keyword. This is done using extends keyword. This is mentioning that using export and, okay, export and you will be taking import keyword. That means as simple as the concept of this particular, okay, so the concept of you will be taking within the models is you are accessing within the data. That means anything. As we mentioned, data, it can be anything. In one file, whatever the data is there, you will be able to access into another file. You can consider file, or you will be taking with the folder. How you will be able to do? With the help of import and export concept. That is what you will be taking with models here. So how it will be done? As an example, I will be mentioning that export file1.ts. In this particular file1.ts, I'll provide some data. Then I will be taking with import. I will be taking with import. So by taking with that particular import, okay. So now we can see that, okay. So which I will be saying that. So import, it will be able to get access that particular data from, it will be taking with file 1. So this is how you will be having an option. You will be utilizing that particular import and export. I mean, export and import. By taking with the help of this particular import and export, you will be able to get access with the data from one particular file to another file, or you will be taking with one file to another folder also. Let's go with in more detail with the practical example. Then you will be getting with more clear picture. Now you can understand how exactly this playwright also introduced into the market. Let's see here. Now, first I'm creating one particular file. Okay. I'm just mention example underscore file1.ts. Okay. In this particular file1.ts, I'm maintaining the data. I'm taking with export. I'm writing one particular function. Okay. So I written one particular function. What is a function? Add, which I will be taking with a comma b. So what is the result? It has to return a plus b. That means whenever I'm calling this particular method, it's need to give a result of a plus b. In the same way, it will be taking with this particular export. Then it will be taking with return a minus b. Then you will be taking with the multiply, and then you will be taking with division. This is what you will be doing it, which you will be taking with these particular respective of division. So now we created with the methods. We created 4 methods: add method, subtract method, multiply method, divide method. Now all these data available in file 1, all these particular data available in file 1. Now, this data, these functions or this data, we need to access in another method. We need to access in another method. So let's see that how we can access. Let's see that how we can access. Now I'm creating one more particular file mentioning that example underscore file2.ts. File2.ts. So in the file 1, we got all our data. So this data we are accessing in file 2. So how we can access, that is what you are using with the keyword of import, which you will be using the keyword of import. So import what are all the data you want to access, you will be mentioning it. From where you are accessing, is you are accessing from that particular file 1. You are accessing from file 1. So now I provided two arguments for add method. It will perform addition, subtract, multiply, divide. Let me execute the program. Understand the logic now. I'm not executing the file 1. I'm not executing with the file 1. I'm executing file 2. I'm executing that particular respective file 2 dot it will be taking with ts. So file 2 dot it will be taking with the ts. It will be printing all that particular result. That means in the file 1, we maintain all the required methods. That particular methods I can access in file 2, I can access in file 3, I can access in file 10, or I can access in another project, another folder also. Here I got 74 batch, I can access in 75 batch, I can access in 73 batch. So that kind of flexibility, that kind of option, we got it while working this particular perspective of this concept of it will be taking with models here. So one it will be taking with export and another one it will be taking with import. That means whenever you added the keyword of export, then only it will given a permission. For example, you can see I remove the export. Here there is no error. Here there is no error at all. But file 2, you will get an error. Because that method is not having with the export. Without having the export, you cannot import. So that is what I will be mentioning, that I will be using that particular respective keyword of I will be taking with that particular export. Now you can understand, all the online students, please be more active guys, please be more active. Understand your actual concept of the playwright. How exactly the playwright has been introduced in the market. Now, this particular playwright introduced by that particular Microsoft, or otherwise I'll just mention example underscore it will be taking with Microsoft, and then I will be taking underscore it will be taking playwright dot ts. Now assume that the Microsoft has been introduced playwright into the market. So how they introduce? First, you will be taking that particular export. Then you will be writing that particular function. Okay. And then I'm mentioning that open browser. Then you will be taking with in having that particular one, it will be taking with enclosing that particular browser. Then we got one more export that it will be taking with the function close browser. Then it will be taking with export function, which it will be taking with, it will be mentioning that it will be taking with this particular one, it will be taking enter data. Enter data. So which I will be taking with enter data. Then it will be taking with in printing with the statement data entered. Okay. Next it will be taking with export. It will be taking with click. So this is how these particular playwright understand that you're working playwright automation. So in the playwright automation, that particular Microsoft people, they already created different type the methods. In the same way, just additionally they written the logic. We have not written the logic, but the playwright people, they written the logic. So how they introduce the playwright into the market? They created multiple files and they maintained all the methods related to the playwright automation. Now, as a tester, you can see how we are using. I'm just taking new file, example, tester 1, tester 1, automating test case 1 dot ts. Now I have a tester 1. Tester 1, he need to automate with the test case of test case 1. So test case 1, I want to automate opening the browser and closing the browser. That is what my test case I want to automate it. Then I'll go with import. So this is what going forward your actual playwright. It will be taking with import. So for now, I required only opening with the browser, closing with the browser. So I want to just go with open that particular browser, closing with the browser. So these methods from where it is accessing Microsoft Playwright. Okay. Now I'll perform that. Let's see here. Just I need to get go with that particular calling the method of open browser and then calling with the method of close browser. That's it. As a tester, I doesn't require to write in writing all that particular logic. I doesn't require to write all that particular logic. Just I'm calling that particular methods. Now we can see. Now, as a tester one, I'm executing my test case TSX example underscore tester one executing test case one dot ts. It's need to be get provide that particular result. The result is like opening the browser and closing with the browser. That means this is what your exact automation work here. So it doesn't require to go with writing the huge lines of code here. Based on your manual step, what are the things you want to automate? To automate, what are the predefined methods are there? You need to use that particular method. So now assume that I'm having tester 1. Consider that I'm having tester 1. If I go with tester 1 automated, now I'm taking tester 2, which I will be taking with that particular tester 2. It was automating second test case dot ts. Now Again, tester 2 also same thing. What he will be doing? He will be taking with that particular import option. Import, he need to be get imported what are the things has been required. Now importing that open browser, entering with the data, clicking on the button, closing with the browser. That means, see your understanding. Microsoft people related to the playwright, they already provided the methods as part of your test case step. So my test case step, first I want to open browser, then I want to enter the data, then I want to click on the button, then closing with the browser. So just I'm calling that particular respective methods only. So now you can see here. So previously tester 1 automated the test case of opening the browser, closing the browser. As a tester 2, if I'm taking with that particular tester 2, which I will be taking with tester 2, I will be taking with open the browser, data entered successfully, which I will be taking with that particular one, clicked on button and closing with the browser. This is how it will be able to continue that particular respective automation. As part of that particular requirement, you need to be get understand you will be taking with in utilizing what are all that particular methods has been required. You need to be get go with that particular respective methods. So this is you need to be get understand the one concept of working with this particular import and export. And while working this particular import and export, you got one more terminology. While working this particular import and export, we got one more particular terminology. That is what you will be taking with arrow function. We can call as arrow function or we can call as arrow method. What exactly the meaning of that particular arrow functions? What exactly the meaning of that particular arrow function? See here, I'm using the keyword of function. I'm just using the keyword of function. So here I'll just remove this. I'm just removing the keyword of function and then I will be taking with adding arrow symbol. I will be taking with in adding that particular respective of arrow symbol. Let's see here. If I just go with this particular one, previously we got a keyword of the function. We got a keyword of function. Rather than that, I'm using with the symbol of arrow. That means while working with the TypeScript, okay, this particular one, specifically we can consider this is arrow function. We can call as arrow method or function because going forward when you're working with the playwright, you will be using this arrow symbol. So don't be confused about on that. As simple while working with the TypeScript, we can use the keyword of function or in a place of the function keyword, we can go with that particular arrow symbol. Your concept will be the same. For example, if I'm executing with the file 2, it is printing the same result. There is no difference in the result. So one is function keyword. Another one it will be taking with arrow function. So this is what it will be taking with all the concepts related to this particular programming of the TypeScript here. So now from tomorrow, we need to get started our actual concept of the playwright. So from tomorrow, what we are getting started with the playwright, that is what your actual job role of the automation tester. So while attending the tomorrow session, all the online students also, while attending the tomorrow session, please make sure that you refresh all the TypeScript concepts what we already discussed. Along with that object identification, your Excel file, you need to refresh that particular concept. So what we'll do, we'll take the help of object identification, we'll take the help of TypeScript syntax. By having these two things, you will be writing your actual playwright program. So very easily we can write it, but please refresh the concepts, guys, because otherwise it will create a confusion from tomorrow. That is the reason, rather than directly writing the playwright program, first I explain object identification, then we got TypeScript syntax. By taking the help of these two things, you will be writing our actual programs in the playwright. So from tomorrow, we'll be getting started working with the playwright. You can utilize that particular TypeScript sessions in the morning batch also. Just take care about that particular TypeScript session and please look into that particular practice here. Okay? Clear everyone? Right. Any questions? You guys can carry on your questions.
Welcome to NC Music World. Bluetooth mode. Network.
Right. Online students having the questions, you can carry on your questions.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah.
Dot toString we have used, sir. So what it actually it does functionality.
Which one?
Dot toString in previous program.
Okay, toString is it has to convert, I mean, it will understand that is a number, right? So that number, it will be considered that that is in a string format. I mean, from the number data type to it has been converting into the string data type. Okay, in the result, it will not be able to see the string, but internally the data type it will consider that is it in a string format. That is what the toString method. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right.
Hello, sir.
Next.
Sir,
Yeah. Hmm.
Sir, when you are basically explaining about the concept of export and import, so there we have used the keyword as export, but
Correct.
and you haven't mentioned anything about the class. You have just put it as a function as the keyword. But
Ah,
sir, if it is a class and if we set the access modifier as public, still we will be able to access the same way as we are doing now.
we can export the class also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sir, for that also we have to use the keyword as export.
Yes, yes. So once you are giving with the keyword of export, then only will be getting with the option of that particular import option then. Okay.
And sir, so syntax wise, it will not change. Only the export keyword would be added to the existing class. Is that right?
Correct. Correct. The slight difference will be there in the syntax also, but it's mandatory of you need to use the keyword of that particular export. Then only you will be getting a permission that to access into the another file. Okay.
And sir,
Okay.
that access modifier of like if it is public or private or something, that will still hold true when we are using the export keyword.
Right. As simple as while working with the TypeScript, for the class, we cannot mention any access modifiers because as part of the TypeScript, by default, every class will consider as a public only. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Next.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello. Then arrow function, can you explain it once again, sir?
As
Arrow
simple,
symbol.
while working with these particular TypeScript concept, we created one particular method, one function I created. Whenever
Yes.
I'm creating with the function, I can use the keyword of the function. One
Okay.
approach, one option. Otherwise, in a place of function, rather than giving with the function keyword, I can use arrow symbol. So that is what we are calling the method is arrow function, or we'll say that arrow method. Okay.
Then why do we use this constant keyword before the method name
Because this
in
is
this
I'm
arrow function? Huh.
It's not like for arrow function, you are not using the keyword of constant because
Okay.
of this functionality. I'm performing an addition. So when I'm performing an addition, it's need to understand that a variable. So that variable we are giving in a constant or let. Okay.
Okay. Parameters are constant.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Next.
And one more thing, sir. Can't
Hmm.
we use console.log function inside the class only?
No, no. Directly only writing only one single class and inside of the class directly cannot write it. You can
Wh-
go with you required in a method.
Why, sir? Why is that?
That is the TypeScript. I mean, as part of the TypeScript architecture, they came up with that functionality because Java algorithm, Java architecture is different. These particular TypeScript, these particular architecture, they make as a different. According to the Java, you require main method. To execute any program, you require main method. But here there is no concept of the main method. So that is the reason you cannot directly print with the statement inside of the class. Outside of the class, it will work again.
Yes, outside the class it will work.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Well. All right, guys. Okay, then. Please take care about the things. Please make sure to refresh all the concepts for tomorrow, guys. Then only it will make you more easy. Please refresh all the concepts. Yeah. Thank you.